guys, how are you all doing? It's Akara CC and I'm back again today with another interesting video. I trust you guys are doing great, having fun, enjoying yourselves today. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. So I just want us to have a look at this video today. This woman is trying to explain the reason or the reasons why couples decide not to have kids after having one, two, three, four, five, as the case may be. This is a very good video in my own opinion because this is a thing in our society today. Now you will see a family, a couple with two kids, and people will be like, oh, why not make it three, four, and we may not really know the reason or the reasons why they took a decision not to have more kids. Now, this is a very good video in my own opinion because this woman proceeds to use her family as an example by sharing with us how much they spend, towards their kids' activities. I'm gonna let this video roll so we all can hear everything she said. And of course, I'm gonna show you some stitches. Please check this video out.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child, or people say they don't have the money to have children in general, it goes deeper than just feeding them, clothing them, and childcare, right? There's this whole culture of enriching your child's life, providing them experiences, taking them places, doing activities. And no one talks about the cost, like how much it is and how quickly it can add up. We have four kids. Only three of them are of the age where they would do an activity. The 7-month-old doesn't do much, but she will one day. And right now in my budget, monthly, I budget $500 to $1,000 for activities, depending on what's going on. So right now we're doing taekwondo, we're doing gymnastics, and that's 1 hour a week per kid. So son's doing taekwondo once, daughter's doing gymnastics once, other daughter's doing gymnastics once. That alone is almost $400. Then you add on things that are almost like a necessity, swim lessons. My kids need to know how to swim. Like I feel very strongly that I don't want them to drown, and it is so important to me because it is one of my biggest fears. I need them to know how to swim. $100 per kid per month for a half-hour lesson once a week. Okay, so that's $675 a month, $700. I don't even know how much I'm paying. It is so much money to be able to provide your children with experiences and to prepare them, right? To prepare them for life. Swimming is a skill set that I think most of us feel strongly our kids need or people need so that they can not drown. And so because of this, parents are drowning, right? Like we're drowning because if you don't give this to your kid, you're judged. If you give it to your kid, you're financially struggling. Even if you don't have childcare, that's a lot of money per month to budget. And that's for 3 kids. So yeah, like the less kids you have, the more financially viable your family probably is.
So there was this video that was going around on TikTok. This man says, if you don't have money or if you are not financially stable, do not have kids. Now, a lot of people came for him. I saw that video. I saw a lot of stitches. People were giving their opinion. Some people were like, why would you tell people not to have kids? Why would you say if you are poor, do not have kids, or if you're not financially stable, you should not have kids? You know what I mean? A lot of people were like, okay, I mean, he didn't say anything bad. It was an argument which is still going on anyways. But looking at this video, like I said, in my own opinion, it is a very good video. And I think that couples that are yet to have kids, should, you know, sit down and plan it. Look at your income, what comes in at the end of the month. We would want to give our kids a beautiful life, okay? But then it costs a lot. My kids, I made some inquiries to register them so they could go for swimming. Boy, the money, because I've got 3 kids, and it is costing me a lot. Like my husband and I, it is costing us a lot, okay? But they need it. And that's not the only activity they are doing. There are, 3 more activities. I mean, they are costing a lot. Okay. So I just want us to have this discussion today, what advice would you give? What is your take on this? Anyways, I have put together a few stitches. Let's just hear from them. And of course, I'm going to show you some comments I grabbed from my comment section so you guys can see what other people said. You all know how we do it here. So get your popcorn ready, enjoy this video, and let's check the stitches out.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child, or
So I wish more people understood this before they made that commitment to have children. It takes more than just food, shelter, and water just to raise a kid. I had a pretty rough childhood. My mom started having babies at 16, and by the time she was 24, she had 4 kids. So we were poor. My mom didn't have a career, so my parents were stuck, working low income jobs. My older siblings, they had a different dad that basically abandoned them. He wouldn't pay child support, and he moved on and went and created babies with other women. So we had it very rough growing up. Like, I would even, tell my parents, I want to be in gymnastics and I want to do cheerleading and I want to be in band, but my parents would never put me in any type of extracurricular activities. Like, for example, I was in band and I had to sit there and watch everybody else in band class with their instruments, and I'm just sitting there without an instrument for 2 weeks. And, I eventually had to drop out because how am I going to learn music without an instrument? All of those experiences of not being able to do what my friends are doing and participating in the activities that they participated in, it really it messed with my self-esteem. And so so being just poor like that, it really messes with you on the inside. So stop having kids that you cannot afford, because yeah, you can give them the bare minimum, but whenever they see, other kids their age doing things that they wish they could do, like going on vacations and participating in activities, it really hurts them to the core. But thankfully, I have a daughter, and I put her in gymnastics, and I put her in a private preschool. So I'm giving her the childhood that I wish I would have had. So stop having babies if you cannot afford them. And make sure that you do give your kid a very enriching life.
It's not. I love my kids and I will do anything and everything for them.
when parents say they don't have the money for another child, or
I'm pretty sure a lot of you will relate with this. So I was on the phone the other day with my mom and I was putting up the tree and I told her, oh, I just need the gifts for my kids. I'm gonna wrap them up, put them up in the tree, and I'm good to go for Christmas. She proceeds to tell me, oh my God, you shouldn't spoil those kids anymore. They already have enough gifts. You shouldn't give them any more. Mind you, when we were growing up, we never celebrated Christmas. We never got gifts. Santa didn't exist for us. So obviously, as a mother, that wants to break generational curses, I obviously, said what I thought. And I told her the reason I give my kids gifts is because I want to give them the gifts I didn't get as a child. My mother gets offended and says, well, we didn't have the money back then. And I proceed to tell her, you did have the money. You just didn't want to buy us gifts. Mind you, my mom is a narcissistic parent. She just doesn't want to accept it. So she's like, no, we couldn't afford it. We always were making ends meet, so we couldn't afford giving you guys gifts. And anyways, I never liked that holiday to begin with. So I proceed to break down the reason why she didn't give us any gifts or couldn't afford them. I tell her the reason you couldn't buy us gifts, my brothers and I gifts, was because you were more worried about sending money to your family in Mexico. You were more worried about the people over there that they had food in their table, that they had clothes on, that they were taken care of. You would prioritize your mother and your brothers and sisters before your own kids. And I know a lot of Hispanic families do this, or Latinas families do this. She then tells me, well, I don't feel sorry because I did something good for my mother. I then proceed to tell her, well, that's the difference between you and me. I prioritize my kids first. So for me, I'm not doing too much. In fact, I don't feel I'm doing enough for them. I'd rather fill my kids with gifts for Christmas than try to please other people that are never even gonna thank me for it. Because mind you, everybody on my mom's side of the family no longer talks to her. They in fact hate her now. So I tell her, me giving my kids gifts, it's not too much. You think it's too much, but for me, it's not. I love my kids and I will do anything and everything for them.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child, or
So my wife sent this to me, and I watched it. I read quite a few of the comments, and I'm quite appalled by it. You never have enough money to have kids. Regardless of what you want to do for them, you'll never have enough, first of all. So if you're thinking about having kids and you think, oh, I don't have enough money, just have kids, because you'll never have enough. We have a pretty fantastic daughter, and she has a really good life. But we scrape by every month. I may have a shop, I may have a few other little toys here and there, but most of it we came by from family members or for free. We didn't come by it by going into debt, financing it, or paying out the ass for it. That being said, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. She takes care of our daughter and our soon-to-be son, who's going to be here in a couple of days. I work my ass off for that. There's some people in those comments that talk about how being a stay-at-home mom and being able to homeschool your children is a privilege. No, it's a sacrifice on everyone's part. My wife gets no alone time. I'm gone 50 to 60 hours a week, if not sometimes 80 hours a week, just to make ends meet. We don't have an extra $1,000 to send our daughter or our kids. $1,000 extra. We don't have an extra $1,000 to send our kids to extracurricular activities like taekwondo or swimming lessons. No, instead, what we do is we find a way to make 15 to 30 extra minutes a week to teach our kid how to swim. Even if it's sitting in the bathtub, we teach her how to stroke in the tub, how to hold her breath. It doesn't take much to raise kids. It can be affordable if you make it. You don't have to give your kids everything. You don't have to give up your life for your kids. Your children are just that, your children. You and your spouse still come first. It's important that you have a relationship with your spouse, because without your spouse, those children don't exist. And without your spouse, those children have a much higher chance of not turning out like good people. Think about that. You don't need a lot of money. You just need you and your spouse and your children.
when parents say they don't have the money for another child.
So for those of you who don't know, my husband and I have 6 children. More specifically, we have 6 boys. So something we hear all the time is, are you guys going to keep trying until you get a girl? Fuck no. But the reason for the no goes far beyond us just not wanting to have any more children. It's about the quality of life we're providing for our kids. Yes, we could have more kids and be able to feed them. That's not really the issue. But having a child isn't just about feeding and clothing them. What kind of life are you actually providing for these kids that you're having? I like to be able to take my kids on trips. I like to be able to attend all the class parties. I want to make sure that the childhood they have is a happy and memorable one. The more children you have, the more directions you're getting pulled in. With each child that you have, it gets harder and harder to ensure that quality of life. So when we say we can't afford another child, it's not all about the money, it's also about the time.
So I don't know why this is a thing, okay? Some people will be like, oh, you've got only one boy, so why don't you keep trying until you get another boy? Like, girl, who told you that I want to go for another baby? I'm done, okay? Now, I've got 3 kids, I've got 2 boys and 1 girl. And a lot of people have told me, just try one more time. You might luckily get another baby girl. And I was like, who told you I even want to have 4 kids? I'm okay with 3. I'm happy. Let's just, oh my gosh.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child, or
I think she really could have ended the video there. Like, when people say that they can't afford a child, listen to them, because this world is fucking expensive. Like, it's absolutely asinine how expensive certain things are now. Like a what is it, a dozen of eggs, like $6. And I'm in Georgia. So like I don't even want to know what it's like in California or New York City or whatever else. And people are just like out here willy-nilly just having babies. No. Could not possibly be me. People question my decision and my husband's decision to not have any more children on a pretty regular basis, as if we're not all living in the same economy. Like, we cannot afford to buy a house. What makes you think we can afford to have another child? And it's unfair to my daughter that's currently here and living and breathing and everything in our world to take away life experiences in order to give her a sibling. Because we would not be able to provide the same quality of life to 2 children that we can provide to our 1. And I do not want to feel the guilt that I know would come with giving my child a sibling and being able to provide them half the life that they deserve. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my husband. It is not fair to us as a family unit. So we're going to live happily with our 1 child and be a family of 3 for the rest of forever. And if she one day decides to have children and wants multiple because she grew up an only child, that is her decision to make. If she wants to not ever have kids because she loved just getting to be alone and get all of the joy and love that we can give her as her parents, that's her decision to make too. But our decisions are what we get to make. And my husband and I do not want any more children, cannot afford any more children. We can barely afford the one we got. And we don't want to set back our life and the success that we could have by having another one. Children are expensive. Take out the first year expenses like alone, which are astronomical, especially today. And add in 18 years, it's what, like $2 million is what they've estimated that's what it costs for the first 18 years of someone's life. $2 million that I don't have. So, when people say they can't afford another child, or children in general, hear them, listen to them, and leave them the hell alone.
when parents say they don't have the money for another child, or
So go back, watch her whole video. She does a really good job of like breaking it down to what it costs to like do things like swimming lessons. And as a Latina and coming from a Mexican household, it's so hard sometimes for me to even get into this subject with family members, tias, etc. because the mentality is, oh, donde comen cinco, comen seis. And the thing is that I want to give my children the opportunities and experiences that I didn't have necessarily growing up. My mom worked full time, my dad worked full time, and he wasn't really involved. He was, like a typical Mexican dad, just checked out of like anything that had to do with the kids. And, we couldn't do swimming lessons unless they were free or at the park. And I grew up in South Central, so there was only swimming lessons in the summer during the day, and my mom couldn't take us to that. So we were at that disadvantage. We don't know how to swim, and that sucks. So I want to give my children that. My son goes to a private preschool. He's been going there since he was about 17 months. It's like a Reggio Emilia based preschool. They take really good care of his emotional well-being, and that's what we're paying for. We're paying almost $1,000 a month for him to go to this school, but it coincides with how we parent. The discipline is, not something like timeout or anything like that. It's based on connection, and that's what we're paying for. My daughter is gonna be 2 in February, and her art classes are once a week, about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we're paying almost $50 for her to do this. And pretty soon she's gonna start gymnastics, and that's also gonna be like $100 that we're paying. We're also able to do things like go on family vacations to Legoland because we can afford it with 2 children. So a lot of times when people say that they can't afford to have more children, this is the place that we're coming from. And a lot of us just choose not to because we can take trips or whatever because we have only 1 or 2 children.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child.
This entire video is exactly how I know I'm done having kids. I have 3, my 3rd being unplanned, and for this very reason, this is exactly why when I found out I was pregnant with her, I felt so disappointed in myself and like I had let down all 3 of those kids. Not that she was unwanted, she was very much wanted and she is very much loved. She's 2 now and she's just the cutest little thing. But I knew that financially we could not do for 3 what we could have with 2. It ended up working out, we're all happy and fine, we're good. But things have changed, obviously. Financially, things have changed, and it's fine. But this is my mindset whenever I get in that feeling of I'm struggling to close a chapter of no longer having babies anymore and like closing that phase of life. It is very hard for me, and it makes me so sad to think about being done. But when I think about bringing another baby into the family, I know that financially that would be a major stretch in these kind of ways. Like the bare minimum is fine. Like I breastfeed, I cloth diaper, so all of those things are free. That wasn't the issue. It was so far beyond that. And so this is exactly why when I tell people, if you are struggling with being done or not, do not think about think about your Thanksgiving table in 20 years, who you want around the table. Do not let that talk you into having 100 kids, because that would be me. If I had that mindset, I would have like 1,000 kids. Think about their childhood. Think about how would bringing in another 1 or 2 or 3 kids affect your current kid's life or childhood in a negative way. Obviously, there's positives to having siblings, but just think about that. Like that is what helps me feel, I guess, closure and being okay with closing that chapter of my life, because I know I'm prioritizing my kids' childhood, making sure that they will always have access to, I don't know, more than what I had access to, I guess.
When parents say they don't have the money for another child,
So I actually saw another Latina creator talk about this video, and I just wanted to put my little point of view as well. So in our Hispanic community, we always see people having 4, 5, 6 kids, and just like she said, donde comen 5, comen 6, 7. However, yeah, that's true, but not the life we want to give our kids. So I wasn't raised that way, but I've seen other people where they have so many kids and they're constantly working. They constantly can't take them out. And it's really, really hard for them to, give their kids, that life, like swimming lessons, like she said, or, take them to events or something like that, because there's just no money, because as long as they have food and clothes on the table, the kids are fine. So in my situation, I had 3 kids for 3 years. Obviously, I had my first one and then I had my twins. and we were fine. I was able to get everything for my kids. They had, I was giving them the life that I would want to give my kids. And when I found out I was pregnant again, my worry was, am I going to be able to give this child the life that it deserves? And I didn't mean like diapers, and I didn't mean like, formula or anything like that. What I meant was more like, are they going to be able to go to like events at school? Are they going to be able to, go to like whatever kind of sport they want or something? That's what I meant. Like, am I going to be able to afford that? Thankfully, yes, I'm able to afford, more stuff for my kids. However, after having my fourth baby during my C-section, I had my tubes tied, because I know if I'm going to have a fifth baby, sixth baby, I'm not going to be able to afford anything with that. Not the lifestyle I want, not the lifestyle my kids want. I can't do that. So I got my tubes tied because of that. Because I've seen it so much in the Hispanic community that they have like 6, 7 kids and they barely go out. Yeah, no, that's not for me. So I tied my tubes because I know I'm not able to afford more than 4 kids.
So I took some screenshots of comments so you guys can see what other people said about her video. Now, beside me are some of these comments. Please pause to read if you want to. And I would love to know your take in the comment. Like I've literally said, a lot already. Like I said, I've got 3 kids, and planning for the activities, it is costing a lot, but we just have to do what we have to do. And that is why I find it funny when people tell me, oh, you've got only 1 girl. I know. My husband and I agree that we're gonna have 3 kids. So we've got 2 boys and 1 girl, and perfectly okay with that. I am perfectly okay with that. So please stop all these questions or suggestions or opinions. We are good. We are good with 3. Yeah. So let me know what you all think in the comments, guys. And thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share, comment, and of course, come back for another video. I'm gonna see you all in my next one. Y'all take care and be blessed. Bye.